Hello, this is Mike with Bearmark, and this is another video on prepping philosophy. I know there's a million of them out there, but I talked about what's in my fire kit and why I prepare my fire kit that way. 3 different kinds of ways to make fire, and I carry materials with me, blah, 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 blah. So I have a problem with one, I can go to the other. And I'm not rubbing 2 sticks together. Which way would you rather do it? Just saying. Now it's good to know how to rub 2 sticks together, but I think it's also better to go, hey, you know, that one's not working. Let's try this one. Just seems to be a little better for me. You know, I've loved watching prepper shows. One, because I find them hilarious in a lot of cases, and like survival shows too. Sometimes they're just fantastic. Because you know, at the end of the day, that guy goes like to a motel room, right? Anyway, prepper shows. There's Bubba right there, and he's down there in Texas, and he's just got 70 acres down there. I don't know how much money you gotta have that down there in Texas, but you got water tanks and gas tanks and diesel tanks, and you got underground shelter and tractors and all this kind of stuff, and you got 18 years worth of food down there, and you got your little kids aiming weapons at people. What is that? And they're prepping for like, oh, when the whales die, the oceans will rise, and oh my goodness, that's what I'm prepping for. What? I mean, every single episode is like, well, I'm prepping for an EMP. Okay. But I'm prepping for such a specific thing that just might happen someday down the road. No. Okay. Prepping philosophy, right? We're going to call this one stress, drugs, and gardening, okay? Because there's a point. My philosophy on prepping is number 1, prep like there will be no electricity ever again, okay? I know that there are folks that go, well, gotta have that generator, gotta have that wind power, gotta have that solar power, gotta keep, you know, my freezer going, gotta keep my iPhone going, or my laptop, or whatever means of communication that I am currently addicted to the most. No, you don't. Get that in your head. There probably won't be electricity. What are you gonna do? Anyway, that induces stress, doesn't it? Okay, well, let's talk about stress. Stress occurs whenever there's a bad situation, or a good situation, or however people stress out. It's a mental thing, but it affects you physically and emotionally as well. When you're stressed, do you make the right decisions? Do you react in the proper fashion to solve the problem? No, usually not, right? Stress also causes physical problems like ulcers, brain fog, lethargy, all kinds of things. So how are you going to deal with stress? Number 1 way to deal with stress is to figure out, well, possibly, what you're going to be faced with and figure out a solution to it before you get there. Makes sense, doesn't it? I learned that and other things when I was in the Navy, and we were being tasked to board ships. Well, that's stressful because you get in a little bitty boat and you go across 14-foot seas and you got to board this other boat, and they don't want you on their boat, and there's always a possibility they could freaking shoot at you. So there's a lot of things you got to get over, right? You got to get over your fear of drowning because I sink like a rock. You got to get over being shot at, and what am I going to do if I'm shot at? Am I going to defend myself and my shipmates? All those little lines you may not realize are there. They're there, brother, and you need to make a decision on each one of them beforehand. And if you have done that, then chances are when you cross that line, you'll already have a plan A, plan B, plan C, and that's where you need to be with prepping. Not that you need 18 years worth of food. Instead, why don't you say, okay, I need to have an amount of food that's going to get me to where I'm growing my next crop of food, right? So how about a year, maybe a year and a half, and have seeds ready to go in the ground. Learn how to put them in the ground. Learn how to grow them. Learn to save your seeds from that so you can plant the next ones next year. That's the kind of stuff that's going to reduce stress in a situation like that, because you're going to know you're better prepared. Emotionally, there's a lot of emotional things that are going to happen at that point. If everything just turns into chaos, right? Obama zombies running around wanting what you got. Who knows what? So when things like that happen, people you know will die. Period. You may die. Your children, your wife, your son, your daughter. So what are you going to do then? You can't just sit down and quit unless that's what you want to do. I suppose you can sit down and quit if you want, but the whole idea to prep is to not sit down and quit. So emotionally you have to deal with that. You're going to have to deal with breaking addictions. Addiction to your cell phone, addiction to alcohol, tobacco, firearms. Well, not that one. Don't break that one. So you have to be mentally prepared for that. What's going to happen when you run out of skull, brother? I mean, I understand that. So either solve the problem now, or you're going to have to make up your mind that you're going to solve it later. Let's see, drugs. We're talking about drugs, not like illegal drugs, but medicines, right? I always swore when I was younger and like superhuman that I wasn't going to need prescriptions. Holy smokes, man. I need prescriptions. And I'm not very happy about it, but you know what? They make life a little better for me. So the thing about prescriptions is you only can get it 21 days at a time. So on day 22, you're like, I'm out of prescriptions. So what am I going to do? Well, it's going to suck unless you can figure out a way to put some of that away ahead of time and then understand that at some point in time, you're not going to have that anymore. And that's going to be something to deal with. And for folks that have like life-threatening chronic diseases, you know, you better make good and be prepared for that. So another emotional thing there. Drugs like antibiotics. Well, if there's a way to get some and kind of put them aside, or at least know about natural things that help to act as antibiotics, like garlic, like turmeric that reduces inflation. I wish it did. Inflammation. Garlic helps to cure all kinds of viral and bacterial infections. So does colloidal silver. Learn how to make that. What's the other one I'm thinking about? Oregano. Oh yeah, burping pizza, man. Oregano is really, really good for solving a lot of problems like that. But burp pizza, it's not bad, but yeah, for hours. Anyway, those are the kind of drugs you need to think about being able to have on hand, or the herbal remedies that are similar to that. Gardening. That brings us to gardening. How are you going to grow oregano, garlic, your colloidal silver? Well, you can't grow that. Anyway, all those things that you're going to need as a remedy. Learn about some of the other herbs that are good remedies for this, that, and the other. And food, man. Do you know how to grow carrots? Carrots are so good for you. However, I know for a fact that everyone who's eaten a carrot has died. Think about that. But they aren't good for you. So let's see. Gardening now. Those seeds that you bought, the 25-year shelf life seeds, or you were thinking, this might be a good idea. No, it is an excellent idea, because if things really get bad and it's several years down the road before services can resume, you're going to need to grow food, because all that four-legged food running around out there, all the folks that like at PETA don't want you to eat, well, all that's going to be hunted out and gone. Back in the 30s, that's what happened in a lot of areas. The deer was hunted out. The rabbits were hunted out. People were eating possums and roadkill. What was down in rattlesnakes. Not bad actually. So gardening, you're gonna have to learn how to do that. Do you know how to do that? You ever put a shovel in the ground, or do you use a rototiller and a tractor, or do you just go to the grocery store and get it where it's made? Just asking. So there you go. Philosophy on prepping with stress, medical necessities, gardening. There's part one. Got any comments or questions, let me know. Thanks.